Hey everyone, and welcome to Hooked on Needles and Crafts. Today we're going to be continuing part 3 of this stitch series. It's a crochet kit that I got from Five Below. For my returning subscribers, thank you so much for tuning in. And for my new viewers, please consider subscribing, share, hit that like button, leave a comment below, and click on that notification bell for future videos. So today, you guys, we are going to be continuing the last part of this video series, hopefully. We've already done the head, which was part 1. For part 2, we had done the arms and the legs and the ears, and that took a minute. Today, we're going to be doing the body, and then we're going to be doing the flower, and hopefully that's going to be it for this video series. So if you don't remember, I actually have ran out of the berry blue, and so I'm going to be continuing with I have white and I have this really pretty purple yarn. So you guys, this is actually a viewer request. If you have a request, feel free to comment below, but I would check my memberships. They have a lot of perks and benefits to being a member, so check that out. If you don't want to wait for me to find the kit, I do recommend emailing me images of the instructions so that I can help you out with that. My request list is long, so again, I just highly recommend checking out the memberships if you cannot wait. But anyway, alright, so yeah, like I said, we're going to do the body today. We're going to use different colors. And then I'm going to be doing the flower, and then we're going to put everything all together. So in substitution for berry blue yarn, I am going to be using the white. So I have the most tangled up white ever, so hopefully this is the correct end to be pulling from. And then there are obviously different gauges of yarn. Let's see. They say, okay, no, let me stand corrected because I've had this comment before. They're the same gauge, except the materials are different in quality, and I think if I look, I don't know, because actually this instructions were emailed to me. I don't know what the materials are made of. It looks like it could be acrylic. But it is thinner than my yarn that's also acrylic, but it's by I want to say it's by Red Heart. So if you're familiar with Red Heart, it's a really nice brand. They really make their yarn pretty nice, so it's going to be thicker even though it's the same gauge, if that makes any sense. Anyways, alright, let's get into this. So for berry blue, I'm going to do white, and then for soft blue, I'm going to use that purple. I'm going to pretend that it's a t-shirt. Alright, so we're going to start off doing the magic ring. Okay, so if you need to speed up or slow down the video, click on the gear button in the corner. There's playback options that go fast or slow. If you don't need to hear me talk, lower the volume on your device and click on the CC closed caption button. Remember that everybody's learning from at different paces and at different learning skill sets, so be respectful when you comment. If you don't like the words, you know, too much talking, whatever, that's fine, you're entitled to it, but also remember that I do this because there are viewers out there that need the verbal. So let's do a magic ring. Okay, we're going to wrap this around your finger about 3 times. Then you want to leave some overage so that you can take your middle finger and place it right over on that piece of yarn. You can take this moment to straighten out your pieces of yarn, tighten it or loosen it as you need it. But we're going to take our needle and our hook, and we're going to slip it underneath the 3 strands. So we're going to drag this strand underneath these two. So we're going to hook that strand, and then you're going to rotate your hook sideways so that you can slip it underneath the two strands like that. Then we're going to yarn over, which is pretty much taking this feeder yarn and putting it over the hook. So yarn over, then we're going to pull this yarn over through the loop, closing those magic rings together. You can let go of your middle finger and you can slide off the rings off your index. So you have something like this. Okay. So next, what I'm going to show you guys in my videos, I don't show the instructions due to copyright, but I do teach you how to do new stitches at least 3 times, step by step. Okay, so to do a single crochet stitch into a magic ring, stick your hook into the rings like that. We're going to yarn over, and we're going to pull up a loop. So we have 2 loops. Then we're going to yarn over, and you're going to pull this through those 2 loops. So that is a single crochet stitch. We have a loop in the front, a loop in the back. If you look at it from the top, it looks like a little braid. All right, let's do another one. Stick your hook into the loops. We're going to yarn over. You're going to pull up a loop. So you have 2 loops. Then we're going to yarn over, and you're going to pull through those 2 loops. So now we have 2 single crochet stitches. We have front loops and back loops. We turn it on its top view, and you can see there's a braid forming. All right, let's do one more with you guys. Stick your hook into the loops. We're going to yarn over, and you're going to pull up a loop. So you have 2 loops on your hook. Then we're going to yarn over, and you're going to pull through those 2 loops. So now we have 3 single crochet stitches. We have loops in the front, we have loops in the back. We look at it top side, and we have a nice braid forming. So this is the look that we're going for. What I'm going to do is continue the rest of the single crochet stitches required for this magic ring. I am making chapters in my videos now, so if you need to, you can rewind this section as many times as you need until you're comfortable doing the single crochet stitch on your own. But let's move forward. And then once you've completed all the single crochet stitches for the magic ring required for round 1, I'm going to show you now what to do. So they call it a magic ring because what happens is we have an open ring here, and it magically can close. So what we're going to do, overhand the hook, which is taking your hand over the hook. You're going to hold the bottom stitches with your index and thumb. We're not going to hold it too tight. You just want to hold it enough to keep it in place. I'm going to let go of my feeder yarn here. What we're going to do is pull on this excess piece. What we want to focus on are the 2 loops. So I'm going to pull this piece, and I'm going to keep an eye out to see which one of these 2 loops go in first. The one that gets that moves inside first is the one that we're going to focus on first. Okay, that was a lot. So pull on the excess piece. Keep an eye out to see which loop is going in first. And then it looks like this back one here started to go in. You can stop pulling on your excess piece. What we're going to do is pull this end of that loop out so that this secondary loop goes in first. Alright, so pull this end out, and then you're going to see this other loop start to go in, and you want to keep pulling until that secondary loop is gone completely inside your magic ring. Can't see it anymore, but now we have to deal with this loop and this excess piece. So now we can just pull the excess piece and this loop will go in. You can try pulling this excess piece from the get-go, but I 100% bet that if you do that, it's gonna bunch up and not all of the loops are gonna go in nice and easy. So we're now gonna pull on this excess piece and you can see that loop going into the magic ring, completely gone, and your ring is now closed. That's what we're working for here. So from here, I am going to take a stitch marker, and this is something that I highly recommend that you invest in. This is all the stitch markers from the kits that I've collected in the past. I do have an Amazon storefront, so you can go ahead in the description box below and check out these the sellers that I have marked to get these stitch markers. I personally have not purchased from them. Again, this much was from all the kits that I've saved. I did mark though a high star rated store, so you can either start there or at least get the name, the official name of these stitch markers. I'm pretty sure it's stitch markers, and then you can either look at a hobby store or elsewhere online. But what we're going to do is I'm going to take the stitch marker and we're going to slip this underneath the front and back loops of the last stitch we made. So this is the last stitch, and I showed you that this is the front loop, this is the back loop. And I did that because this is going to help us identify parts of our stitches that we're going to have to put our stitch marker in. So what we're putting this in is under the front and back loop. So it'll just go under this front loop and then under the back loop. Okay, you can look at the back side and pull the stitch marker out. If you see that that hole is nice and clear, it means you did not pierce any bits of yarn, which is perfect because you don't want to make any tears into your yarn. It's going to be messy. So once you've hooked that, we can close the stitch marker, and we're just going to continue on to round 2. So for round 2, we are going to be doing a new stitch, and it's called an increasing stitch. And an increasing stitch is basically doing 2 single crochet stitches in 1 stitch. So from the stitch marker, we're going to count back the number of stitches required for round 1. And once you've counted that, the last stitch that you've counted, put your hook in. Sometimes it's hard to see where the next stitch is after the first round because we've tightened it so much and it bunches. So that's the easiest way to find out where that next stitch is just counting back from your hook or your stitch marker, whichever one you have, the number of stitches that was in round 1. Okay, so once you've stuck your hook into that next stitch, like I said, we're going to do 2 single crochet stitches in this 1 stitch, and I'm going to show you how to do that at least 3 times. So we're going to yarn over, pull up a loop, so you have 2 loops, yarn over and pull through those 2 loops. Then we're going to stick our hook back into that same stitch we just used, and we're going to do another single crochet stitch. So yarn over, pull up a loop, so you have 2 loops, yarn over and pull through those 2 loops. So we have 2 single crochet stitches coming out of this one over here. Okay. All right, so let's do another one. Stick your hook into the next stitch. Again, we're gonna do 2 single crochet stitches here. So yarn over, pull up a loop, so you have 2 loops, yarn over and pull through those 2 loops. Stick your hook back into that same stitch that we just used, and we're going to do another single crochet stitch. So yarn over, pull up a loop, so you have 2 loops, yarn over and pull through those 2 loops. So again, we have 2 single crochet stitches coming out of that 1 stitch right there. All right, so one more time with you guys. Stick your hook into the next stitch. In this stitch, we're going to do 2 single crochet stitches. So first one, yarn over, pull up a loop so you have 2 loops, yarn over and pull through those 2 loops. Then stick your hook back into that same stitch. We're going to yarn over and pull up a loop so you have 2 loops, yarn over and pull through those 2 loops. Alright, again, 2 single crochet stitches coming out of that one stitch. So now that I've shown you how to do this at least 3 times step by step, you can rewind this part of the video as many times as you need until you're comfortable doing an increasing stitch on your own. But I'm going to go ahead and finish the rest of this round here. Again, I have included chapters into my videos for easy navigation, so you can go into the description box and click on the chapter or section that you need, so you don't have to manually rewind the video yourself. Alright, so once I've completed round 2, I'm just going to take my stitch marker, remove it, and we're going to place it under the new last stitch we just made, front and back loops. Again, check to see if I already see that I pierced it, so you can take it back out and then put it back in. Pull the stitch marker out. If you see that it's a nice clean hole, that means you haven't pierced anything. Close this up, and then we're going to work on round 3. So for round 3, we have a set of parentheses. So let me teach you how to read that. What we're going to do is take the parenthesis and focus on the stitches solely in those parentheses. That's pretty much what it means. So in this parenthesis, we have a single crochet stitch and an increasing stitch. So that's going to be our main focus. Once you've completed the parenthesis at least once, they have an X with a number next to it, and that means that you're going to repeat that parenthesis that many times. So that's basically how to read that instruction. So I already showed you how to do a single crochet stitch and an increasing stitch. So I'm going to go ahead with round 3 and up to round 6. That's pretty much the same 2 types of stitches over and over again. So I'm going to do that in silence. And then we'll pop back into round 7 and I'll show you what to do then. All right, so I've completed rounds 3 through 6. We're gonna do round 7. So when you get a very lengthy set of instructions, you just need to focus on chunks of it. So I recommend just going before whatever's the comma. In this case, we have a bunch of single crochet stitches and then a comma. So I want to do all those single crochet stitches that it's asking for, except for the last one, because you guys are going to change to the soft blue. I'm going to change to the purple. All right. All right, I did all except for the last one. Let me just double check my count. It's always good to go back and check to see that you have all the stitches required for the round, so that you catch yourself before making the mistake. If you're over or less, you know. So from here, I need to borrow my hook. So we're gonna pull this hook out and make this loop very long. So this is gonna prevent you from losing the stitch. So you can accidentally pull it, but you're gonna have to pull it a lot before you realize that, oh no, this is a stitch and I need to keep it. So we're gonna set this aside. Go and grab your soft blue. In my case, I'm going to be pulling my purple. Why is everything so tangled? And this one isn't a bad, like this isn't bad. Why is it? Oh my gosh, I just pulled out a huge chunk. Okay. All right, so from here, we're gonna cast on with the slip knot. So what you're gonna do is take your ring, pinky, and thumb and hold the very end, and then take your index and middle finger and hold the other end like this. Hold this apart. We're going to take our crochet hook. You're going to lie it perpendicular to the yarn. Then we're going to go down, out, and around to make a loop around our hook. See? You can easily slide this up or down. We're going to slide this down towards your thumb. Take your middle finger on your right hand and just hold it where it crosses so that we can let go of our left and gather up some feeder yarn. Once you've gathered up your feeder yarn, repinch the end as low as you can go. And then we're going to continue to slide our hook closer to our thumb again, and where it crosses, just pinch it so that you can no longer slide your hook up and down. Then we're going to yarn over, and we're going to pull this strand through the loop. Okay. And then we're going to overhand our hook. You're going to repinch this end as low as you can possibly go. This is now a knot, and we're just going to tighten up the knot. So push the knot towards your left thumb, and that's how I'm going to tighten it up. It's going to get to a point where you can't push it anymore because either it's hitting your thumb or it becomes too tight. Whichever one, then you're going to take your thumb and middle finger and pull out this excess piece to make that knot nice and snug. So this is the amount of yarn that we've wasted. I always try to conserve as much yarn as I can because you never know if you're going to need it in the future. So this is a good practice to do every time with your yarn. So now I'm going to take the knot and I'm going to slide it closer to the hook. I'm going to leave some room because we are going to remove our hook. You're going to set this down, and we're going to pick back up our project. Put your hook into that huge loop we made. Tighten it up by pulling on that feeder yarn. Alright, and then from here we're going to do our last single crochet stitch that the instructions was asking for. So we're going to start with the white, so stick your hook into that next stitch. We're going to yarn over, you're going to pull up a loop, they have 2 loops. We're going to drop the white. We're going to pick up, well, this is your berry blue. I should probably say that instead. So drop your berry blue. We're going to pick up the soft blue and slip this onto your hook. And then we're going to pull this through the 2 loops on your hook. And that is your smooth transition between the 2 colors. Alright, so from here with the soft blue, we're going to be doing some single crochet stitches again. So go ahead and do that. What I am going to do, and I showed this in the first video when we were doing the head, I'm going to line up my berry blue feeder yarn along the stitches so that I can crochet around it. So stick your needle into the next hook, the next stitch. What did I say? Stick your hook into the next stitch. Okay, we're going to lay that berry blue over the hook like this so that we can do our single crochet stitch with the soft blue right around it. See how I'm closing that berry blue in? We completed our first single crochet stitch with the soft blue, and it's wrapped around that berry blue. So we're going to do that until we have to change colors again. So by trailing this berry blue with us as we're crocheting, when we need the color, it's going to be right there for you. You don't have to pull it to the stitch that you need it for. So alright, so let's do this 2 more times. I'm going to stick my hook into the next stitch, lay the berry blue over the hook as well. We're going to do our single crochet stitch. Right, one more time with you guys. Stick your hook into the next stitch. We're going to lay our berry blue onto the hook like this, and we're going to single crochet stitch everything together. Alright, so now that I've done that 3 times step by step, you can go and rewind this video as many times as you need until we transition back to berry blue. But I'm going to go ahead and continue the rest in the soft blue. Okay, before I do the last stitch, we are going to change back to the berry blue. So, like I said, when you trail the berry blue with you, it's going to be right there for that last stitch. So let's start the last stitch with the berry blue, with the soft blue. We're going to drop the soft blue. And then we're going to pick up the berry blue. So yarn over and pull through those 2 loops. So now we're having our smooth transition to the berry blue. Alright, so now for this round, back to berry blue, we have another set of single crochet stitches. And again, we are going to trail the soft blue along the way so that when we need it, it'll be right there. And you want to try to keep this behind your stitches, because this is a different color than the other, and if it pokes through the front, you're going to be able to see that, and you don't want to. So okay, last stitch. I'm going to replace the stitch marker under the last stitch we made, and we're going to move on to round 8. So as you see here, we did our color transitions. It's starting to curl in. As it curls in more, you just want to flip this inside out like that. And then if you can see here, your soft blue that I've been trailing, I've been keeping to the back so you can see how you can see it through. But in the front, you have to be a little bit more mindful, like maybe these spots. I didn't make sure I kept that back because you can see a little bit of that coming through, but that's not a huge deal. All right, so for round 8, we're going to continue with another set of single crochet stitches, and then we're going to transition back to soft blue. I'm going to do this round in silence since I've already shown you how to do something similar to this in round 7. And then I'm going to come back in and we're going to learn a new stitch. Alright, so I've completed round 8. We're going to do round 9, but I have to untangle my yarn first. So for round 9, we are going to be doing a set of parentheses, and within this we've got some single crochet stitches as well as a decreasing stitch. So I'm going to show you how to do a decreasing stitch, but basically what that is the opposite of increasing. So whereas increasing we gained 1 stitch, for decreasing we're going to lose 1 stitch. So first let's do our single crochet stitches for this parenthesis on round 9. Okay, then I'm going to show you how to do a decreasing stitch. So stick your hook into the next stitch. We are still laying the soft blue over our hook. We're going to yarn over, pull up a loop so you have 2 loops. Then you're going to go into the next stitch and put in your hook. Again, keeping your soft blue over your hook. And we're going to yarn over and pull up a loop. So now you have 3 loops on your hook. We're going to yarn over and you're going to pull through all 3 loops. So if you can see it, we took 2 stitches and we ended up with 1. So again, we're taking 2 stitches and making it into 1. All right. So then we can go back to the beginning of our parenthesis. Okay, then I'm going to show you how to do a decreasing stitch again. So into the next stitch, put in your hook, lay your soft blue over your hook. We're going to yarn over and pull up a loop. Then into the next stitch, put in your hook. We're going to put the soft blue again over the hook. We're going to yarn over and you're going to pull up a loop. Then we're going to yarn over and you're going to pull through all 3 loops. So we've turned 2 stitches into 1. Now we're going to complete the rest of this instruction here. We have some single crochet stitches, but we're going to transition into that soft blue. So let's start this single crochet stitch. Then we're going to we're going to drop the berry blue. And then we're going to pick up the soft blue and finish this single crochet stitch with that. Okay. So now from here we have another set of parentheses. This time this one's kind of long. We have single crochet stitches, decreasing stitches, back to single crochet stitches. So let's do that now. And we are again trailing this berry blue across the way. Oh, let me show you one more time how to do a decreasing stitch. This will be the 3rd time I'm showing you. So stick your hook into the next stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. Then we're going to stick our hook into the next stitch. We're going to yarn over and pull up a loop. Then we're going to yarn over and you're going to pull through all 3 loops. So we have 2 single crochet stitches turning into 1 stitch here. Alright, so now we can continue with our set of parentheses. Okay, and before we finish that last single crochet stitch, we are going to change back to berry blue. So drop the soft blue and pick up the berry blue. All right, and then we have a single crochet stitch. Oh, we still are going to lay the soft blue across. We're still going to trail it. Let me see here. I'm looking at the best way to conserve the soft blue. So for these next ones, we're just going to trail it. I think would be better, just because we are going around this whole thing. I started out this way because you never know how big this is going to get. And I don't have the picture of this stitch in front of me. So, alright, so let's just keep this soft blue out here. We'll just trail it. But I'm going to finish the rest of round 9. So we've got our single crochet stitch, and then we have a parenthesis of decreasing stitches and single crochet stitches, and repeating it the number of times that the instructions tells us to. And then we're going to go into round in fact, actually, round 10, round 11, round 9, round 13. Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing we've been doing, just different combos, different stitch counts. So I'm just gonna finish this round up to round 13, and then I'll come back in and I'll show you how to fasten off. Oh, but first, yeah, no, we're gonna do a round together so I can show you how to do this thing. So strike that. Still here with you guys. Oh, Dexter's here. Hi, buddy. How you doing? You want to take a little sniff? Sniff, sniffs? Yeah. He hit the camera. Okay. Thank you. Come again. Nope, he's still here. You just gonna watch me, buddy? Okay. Alright, so now we're gonna do round 11. Okay. So I'm going to do all the single crochet stitches required for round 11, and then I'm going to stop at the last stitch because we do have to transition to the soft blue. Okay, so start that last single crochet stitch. We're going to drop the berry blue. We're going to just trail the soft blue around this circumference here, inscribed. And we're doing this because when you stuff your bodice, it's going to stretch, and you don't want to not have enough slack, because then it's going to start pulling as we fill it, and you don't want that to happen. So when you do this part, just make sure it is loose enough for that stretch. So we're only going to be wasting this much of the yarn as opposed to all around. Wasn't exactly sure how big this will grow. So now we can just switch to this small amount than going around. But finish your single crochet stitch. And for this you can decide if you want to, because it's really a small gap. Yeah, I say we'll just trail this while we stitch along. And it's up to you if you want to take that soft blue and stitch around it. I like to stitch around it just so that it's out of the way. So I'm going to do that. So I'm stitching around the soft blue and the berry blue at the same time. And then for that last single crochet stitch in this section, we're going to start it with the soft blue, and then we're going to end it with the berry blue. Okay, so this is what it's looking like. I crocheted around the loose strand so that it's tucked away, which will make it easier for you to stuff later. But I'm going to leave this soft blue behind because we're going to trail it again. And I'm going to continue with the berry blue for the rest of this round. Okay, so now that you've seen me do that, after this round, I'm going to complete all the rest of the remaining rounds and then pop in to show you how to fasten off. I think in my last videos I said I was going to use a green to make like a green shirt, thinking spring, but realized that the flower leaf is going to be made of green, so I didn't want it to blend. So I decided to pick a shirt color, and I said, oh, you know, white is a shirt color. And then I really like this purple, so I'm going to use that. But yeah. Alright, so I'm going to complete the rest in silence. See you back in when we fasten off. I actually wanted to pop in after I did the soft blue because we are going to fasten this color off first because we do not need that color anymore. So once I find my scissor, hold on. Alright, so I'm going to cut about an inch or so off of the soft blue. Soft blue, you guys. And then we're going to tie the soft blue around the berry blue about a couple of times. Don't tie it too tight because that's going to affect the loop around your hook. You don't want it to be too tight because then you're going to have a hard time crocheting later. But you just want to tie this enough to secure it. Maybe a third time would be good. Then you can tuck that into the bodice. And then I'm just going to finish the rest of this last round and then show you how I fasten off. So we're going to do the last parenthesis of decreasing stitches, and actually no, we have a single crochet stitch first, and then we're going to do our set of single crochet decreasing stitches and single crochet stitches. And then once we get to the very end, you can remove your stitch marker. You don't need this anymore. Okay, and then what I'm going to do to fasten this off, we're going to go into the next stitch. We're going to do a slip stitch. So go into the next stitch, we're going to yarn over, you're going to pull through all the loops off your hook like that. That's a slip stitch. Then what we're going to do, we have a tail end for the head, but just in case, I am going to take the berry blue and I'm going to go around this opening 2 times in case we need more yarn to use to sew. Okay, so to fasten off, we're going to yarn over, you're going to pull through the loop and all the way out. And then once you've got that yarn all the way out, just pull on it and that loop is going to turn into a knot. Okay, so now we have the body. So it's going to look something like this, and I really hope that it ends up looking like a t-shirt. Alright. So, last but not least, let's work on the flower. So, for the flower, I'm gonna go get like a pink or something. Hold on a sec. Well, they actually have a yellow, so I'm gonna get a yellow. Hold on. Alright. So, I have my yarn here. We're going to do another magic ring. This is the second time we're doing this in this video. Wrap the yellow around your finger 2 times. I think it's a yellow. Comment below if it's not a yellow. With a little bit of overage, so you can put your middle finger on top of it like that. Take this opportunity to straighten out your strands, tighten them up or loosen them up as you need. But we're going to take our crochet hook and slip under the 3 strands. I'm going to pull it back out. We're going to drag this strand underneath these 2. So hook, turn the hook sideways so you can slip it underneath those 2 strands. Then we're going to yarn over and we're going to pull this through the loop to close those magic rings off. Then remove your middle finger, remove the rings off your index, and then we're going to do our single crochet stitches. Okay, so do the number of single crochet stitches that are required for round 1, which is This part is so funny. So at the end of each of these rounds, you guys, you see a parenthesis with a number. That's how many stitches you should have at the end of the round. And I'm surprised that they have it for such a small flower, and they didn't do the same thing for the whole entire instruction that has more stitches. I don't know. I haven't been paying attention to this company as much because it's far in between that I do their kits. But at the end of each round, for most of the instructions of other brands, they have that parenthesis with numbers so that you know how many stitches you're supposed to have at the end. So that would be helpful if anybody from that company is watching this video at whatever minute mark this is, so further, so far into the video. But anyway, so I'm going to go in and do my single crochet stitches. If you need help, again, I put the chapters in my description box. You can go and easily navigate back to where we did our magic ring step by step, and then you can bounce back in here to do the flower. Okay, and then once we have all of our stitches needed for this round, hold on. Can never tell. All right. Then I'm going to show you how to close this ring. So overhand your hook, hold the stitches at the bottom here, let go of the feeder yarn. We're going to focus on these two loops here. I'm going to pull this excess piece, and we're going to see which loop goes in first. Once you see movement, you can stop pulling. Okay, so the loop back here again was the first one to go in. So take this end out of that loop out, and then you're going to see that other loop go in. Be patient with this, you guys. It might be a little tight, but go little by little each time until that loop is entirely gone into the magic ring. Then you can pull this excess piece so that this loop can then disappear all the way into the magic ring. And then we're going to mark the last stitch we made, front and back loops, with our stitch marker. Okay, pull it to see if there's a clear opening, and then we're going to move on. So in round 2, we're going to just do a bunch of increasing stitches. So always after the first round, if it's hard to see where you're putting your hook, just count back from the hook the number of stitches required for this round. Stick your hook into that last stitch, and then you can start your increasing stitches. Again, for this, you can always go back in the chapters to find the step-by-step. Okay, and then once we've completed this round, we're going to learn something new. Okay, take your stitch marker, replace it under the last stitch we made. So for this third round, we're going to be doing single crochet stitches, which is what we've already learned how to do. However, we're going to BLO, which is back loop only. So we're going to be doing these stitches all in the back loop. So what that means is, I showed you the anatomy of a stitch in the very beginning of this video. we have our front loops and we have our back loops. So we're just going to stick our hook into the back loop only. So normally we would stick under both like that, the front and back loop, but this time we are only going to use the back loop right here. So split that braid and put your hook only into the back loop. So that front loop is right there. We didn't do anything with it. And then we're just going to do our single crochet stitch like we normally would. So again, into the braid, split it. We're going to put our hook only into the back loop only. And we're going to do our single crochet stitch like we normally would. So one more time, you guys, take the braid, split it. We're going to put our hook into the back loop only. Then we're going to yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2 loops, a single crochet stitch. So we did 3 so far. They look like normal single crochet stitches. The only difference now is we didn't use the front loops. So you can see 1, 2, 3 of those front loops we did left untouched. So I'm going to go ahead and do the remaining loops, back loop only, for the rest of this round, and then we're going to do round 4. So if you like, you can rewind this part of the video as many times as you need until you're comfortable doing the back loops only on your own. I am almost up here, and we're going to move on to the last round of this flower, round 4. So once you get to the end there, we're going to replace the stitch marker under the last stitch we made. All right, and then for round 4, we have a bunch of decreasing stitches, which I'm not a fan of because this is going to be very difficult. The smaller the object is, the harder it is to do these stitches. So it's naturally going to curve inward. You want to make sure that you push it out and make it curve the other way. You're going to see that round of front loops only. The wrong side is going to have that excess piece from the magic ring. Try not to crochet into that. But now we're going to go back to front and back loops. We're going to go back to putting it under both again. So let's do our decreasing stitches. Dexter's going to be running up here because it is now time for his dinner. But I finished the last stitch. We're going to fasten off. So we're going to do a slip stitch. So into the next stitch, we're going to yarn over. You're going to pull through all the loops off your hook. Okay. Then like we did before, I'm going to go around the opening. Let's go around 3 times because this is such a small object. I'm going to cut this off, and then we're going to fasten this off. So yarn over and pull through the loop all the way out, and then tighten the loop up for a knot. Okay, and then there's more. Oh no. It says weave the rest of your yarn. Alright, so I want to read these instructions ahead. We got to do the petals next. But I'm going to figure out a way to do it easier. Alright, so let's make these petals. We're going to cast on with a slip knot, so take your ring, pinky, and thumb, hold one end, index and middle, hold the other. We're going to lie our hook perpendicular to the yarn. We're going to go down, out, and around to create this loop around our hook. We can slide it up and down, slide it down towards your thumb, take your middle finger and hold it right where it crosses so that we can let go of our left hand. Gather up some feeder yarn here. We're going to repinch this end as low as you can go, and then we're going to slide our hook closer to our thumb. Where it crosses, pinch it so you can no longer slide your hook up and down. We're going to yarn over. You're going to pull this through the loop, creating a knot. We're going to overhand the hook, pinch the end here. Now we have this knot. We're going to push it towards our thumb. So keep pushing it till you can push it no longer. Then take your thumb and middle finger and pull that little excess piece out to tighten up that knot a little bit. And then we're going to slide the knot closer to our hook. Leave some room here because we are going to do our petals. Okay. So let's see. Slip this off the hook. So we're basically going to be using the front loops now. So let's start with the first one here. And you can easily see them. If I move this closer, it's all these stitches, these loops that we did not use. We're going to stick our hook into this first one here. We're going to slip on our little slip knot thing, and we're going to pull that through the loop. Alright. So this is how we're going to connect everything together. What we have to do is do a half double crochet stitch, HDC. So let me show you how to do that. You're going to yarn over, which is crazy that they're having you do this like that, but whatever. Okay, yarn over. We're going to stick our hook into the same stitch that we just put our hook through, that first front loop only. All right. Then we're going to yarn over again, and we're going to pull up a loop. So now we have 3 loops. We have the initial slip knot that we did in the beginning. We have the yarn over that we did before we inserted the hook back into that stitch. Then we yarned over and pulled up a loop. Okay. So now we're going to yarn over and we're going to pull through all 3 loops. And that is a half double crochet stitch. All right. Then we're going to do a double crochet stitch, which is DC. So let me show you how to do that. You have to yarn over. We're going to stick our hook into the next stitch here, front loop only. Then we're going to yarn over. You're going to pull up a loop, so we have 3 loops. Then we're going to yarn over and you're going to pull through 2 loops. Then we're going to yarn over and you're going to pull through those 2 loops. And that is a double crochet stitch. So our next bit now, we have a set of parentheses, and we have chains and single crochet stitches that we're doing. So let me show you what a chain stitch is. We're working backwards now. This one is the most basic stitch in crocheting. So to make a chain, you have to yarn over and we're going to pull this through the loop, and that's a chain. So let me show you how to do that again. We're going to yarn over, and we're going to pull through the loop, and that is another chain. So here we have 2 chains here. Each chain is made up of 3 loops. We have the front loop, the back loop. We turn this on the other side, and this hump here is the 3rd loop. I call it the back hump. Here's 1, here's 2, here's 1, here's 2. So after we've made our chains, it's telling you to count the 2nd chain from the hook. Now this is universal, so this part I can show you and talk about. So whenever you do a single crochet stitch after doing a couple of chain stitches, whether it's 2 or 10 or 100, you're always going to start the single crochet stitch 2nd chain from hook. So if you look at the hook here, here's the 1st chain, here's the 2nd chain. So we're going to be sticking our hook into the 2nd chain from the hook. Now I like to stick my hook into the back hump. You have your choices. You have the back loop, the front loop, turn it on its side, you have the hump. So I like to turn it on its side and put it in the hump. So stick your hook 2nd chain from the hook, and we're going to continue our single crochet stitch. So yarn over, pull up a loop, so you have 2 loops, yarn over and pull through those 2 loops. So we have our single crochet stitch like we've been doing this whole entire video. So that is the parenthesis. So our next section now is we have to do, are you serious? I wish I had a photo, because this, let me just pause a minute, because I don't know what this thing is looking like. Hold on. Okay, I just had to relook at this and make sure it's saying what it's saying. So here comes the little tricky part. So after that, we have to do a half double crochet stitch, so HDC, and it says into the 1st stitch. Now we are going to talk about this because I didn't quite understand myself. So you see how we did our half double crochet stitch here into that 1st stitch, and then we did the double crochet stitch into the 2nd stitch here. We have to stick our hook back into the 1st stitch. Yeah, crazy. So the 1st stitch that we did, stick your hook in there. Oh, we're doing a half double crochet stitch. So yarn over, then stick your hook into that 1st stitch. We're going to yarn over again, and you're going to pull up a loop. Then you're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Okay. Then we're going to do a double, then it says we have to do a slip stitch, into the 2nd stitch. So where we did that double crochet stitch, stick your hook into that stitch there, and we're going to do our slip stitch, which is yarn over and pull through all the loops off our hook. So now it's looking like a petal, and I'm going to show you how to do this 2 more times in case that was a little crazy, which it was. So let's repeat this. We're going to do a half double crochet stitch, so yarn over. We're going to put this into the next stitch here. All right, next front loop only. Then we're going to yarn over and we're going to pull up a loop, so we have 3 loops on our hook, and we're going to finish this half double crochet stitch, so yarn over and pull through all 3 loops like that. Then we're going to do a double crochet stitch, so yarn over, stick your hook into the next stitch here. We're going to yarn over and pull up a loop, so we have 3 loops. Then we're going to yarn over and you're going to pull through 2 loops. Then we're going to yarn over and you're going to pull through 2 loops, and that's a double crochet stitch. So now we have our set of parentheses. We're going to do 2 chains. So yarn over and pull through the loop, yarn over, and pull through the loop. So from here, we have to do our single crochet stitch, and like I said, it's always going to be second chain from hook. And I'm going to stick my hook into the back hump. So turn it on its side, stick your hook into that back hump, and finish your single crochet stitch. Now this is where it gets a little tricky. We're going to do a half double crochet stitch into that first stitch that we used starting this new petal. So yarn over, stick your hook into that first stitch from the new petal. We're going to yarn over, you're going to pull up a loop, so you have 3 loops. Then we're going to yarn over and you're going to pull through all 3 loops. Then we're going to stick our hook into the next front loop only, which was where we did our double crochet stitch. And we're going to yarn over and do a slip stitch. Okay, so now we have our second petal. So let's do this one more time, and just to explain this in another different way that I hope clarifies for anyone that is still confused, we're going to be working into the next 2 front loops only, 1, 2. At the very end, when we go back to the first stitch, this is the first stitch you're going to go into, and then our slip stitch is going to be into the second stitch where we'll end up doing the double crochet stitch. All right. But let's start this new petal now. So we're going to do a half double crochet stitch, yarn over, stick your hook into that first front loop only for this petal. We're going to yarn over again, pull up a loop, so we have 3 loops, yarn over, and we're going to pull through all 3 loops. Then we're going to do a double crochet stitch, so yarn over, stick your hook into that second stitch that I showed you in the beginning, just before. We're going to yarn over, you're going to pull up a loop, so you have 3 loops, yarn over and pull through 2 loops, yarn over and pull through those 2 loops. So now we have a set of parentheses. We're going to do chain stitches, so do your chains. And then now we have to do our single crochet stitch. So it's always going to be second chain from the hook. I'm going to turn on its side and put the hook into the back hump to do my single crochet stitch. Then from here we're going to do a half double crochet stitch into that first stitch we used for this new petal. So yarn over, stick your hook into that first stitch from the new petal, yarn over, pull up a loop, so you have 3 loops, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. And then we're going to go into the second stitch where we did our double crochet stitch, and we're going to do a slip stitch. All right, so now we have 3 petals. Now that I've shown you how to do 3 petals step by step, you can rewind this part of the video as many times as you need until you're comfortable doing these petals on your own. I'm going to move ahead, and then I'm going to fasten this off. Again, I have chapters set into my description box so that you can navigate through these chapters fairly quickly. But I'm just going to finish the rest now. All right, so now that I've done all 7 petals, I'm just going to go back to where we started, and I'm going to do one final slip stitch. Okay, and then I'm going to cut about 1 inch or so of this yellow. And then we're going to fasten this off by yarning over, pulling through the loop all the way out, then tightening this up. I am going to go back here and just tie these ends together so that it is out of the way. And it does say it's optional to stuff. We'll figure that out in the end. I'm going to just tuck in this piece right here. Okay. If you wanted, you can actually weave that in now. You can leave that tied. I'm just going to undo my knot, because you know what, I think there's a better way to hide this stuff. So I'm going to take my hook, I'm going to go inside this cavity here, we're going to pop back out right where this excess piece is. We're going to hook it and pull it into the space. I'm not going to even knot it, I'm just going to tuck that in there. I'll probably stuff this later anyway, but here is your flower. So now we're going to do the last part, you guys. We have our green yarn. I've got to look for right here. Okay. So we are going to do the tiniest of these magic rings, which I'm not fond of, but wrap around your finger 3 times with a little bit of overage so you can put your middle finger on here. Straighten out your strands, loosen them or tighten them as you need them. I'm going to go fairly quickly because we've done this a few times already. You can hit the chapter of the magic ring if you need a step-by-step. But I'm going to stick this under the 3 strands, hook it, turn the hook, and then slip it underneath the 2 strands here. We're going to yarn over and pull through the loop to close this off. Alright, then I'm going to slip this off my finger. And I'm going to do my single crochet stitches. So once you've completed the number of single crochet stitches you need for this round, I'm overhanding my hook, holding the bottom stitches not too tightly. We're going to pull this to see which one of those loops goes in first. Once we've identified that, you're going to pull this end out, not this side but this one. So pull that loop out from that end, and then you're going to see the other loops start to go in. I want to pull that until it's completely gone into the magic ring, and then you can take this end piece here and pull that all the way out so that that other loop disappears completely. And then we can put our stitch marker, and this is going to be for round 2. Okay, so we have to do the same set of instructions from round 2 to round 9. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I can always count twice. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So all these stitch markers I'm going to have to use, and it's the same stitch, so I'm going to do this in silence. It's all single crochet stitches. Again, after the first round, You always want to count back from the hook the amount of stitches that you're supposed to have for round 1 so that you know where to put your hook, because sometimes it's a little difficult to see after we bunch all these stitches together from making the magic ring. Here is our first stitch, and then I'm going to continue the rest in silence. Alright, so I have the stem. I marked the last stitch that I made because we're doing something weird. Now I realized none of these had said fasten off, and I did fasten off of this and it just worked out because we had to use the front loop only. But this one, the stem, I'm not going to fasten it off because it didn't say it. But we're going to move on to the leaf. So it is telling us to chain 4. I'm going to try to build this in, and it's just going to be built on the top of the stem. Whether that's right or not, I'm not sure. But I think it'll look fine. Okay, so let's chain 4. Alright. So then it's saying that the second chain from the hook, we're going to do a slip stitch. So I guess that's not the rule of single crochet stitching, but it's their instructions. So second chain from hook, 1, 2. I want to put it in the back hump. We're going to do a slip stitch. Okay. Then we're going to be doing a half double crochet stitch, but increasing stitch next. So what that is it's 2, instead of 2 single crochet stitches, we're going to do 2 half double crochet stitches into the next chain here. So we're going to yarn over. You're going to put your hook into the next chain. I'm going to put it in the back hump. We're going to do 2 half double crochet stitches. So yarn over, pull up a loop. Now we have 3 loops on the hook. We're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. That's 1 half double crochet stitch. Let's do another. Yarn over, stick your hook into that same back hump that we just used. Then we're going to yarn over, and you're going to pull up a loop, so you have 3 loops. We're going to yarn over again, and you're going to pull through all 3 loops. Okay, so that was a half double crochet increasing stitch. So into the last stitch, we're going to be doing 2 different stitches here. We're going to do a half double crochet stitch, so yarn over into that last stitch, yarn over again, pull up a loop, so you have 3 loops, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Then we have to do a single crochet stitch into that same stitch. So stick your hook into that same stitch and do a single crochet stitch. Alright, so then it talks about leaving a long tail. Why don't we go now into the next stitch from round 9. I'm going to do a slip stitch just because I don't want this leaf flopping in the wind here. So stick your hook into the next stitch from the round 9, and we're going to do a slip stitch. Alright, then we're going to need this tail that we're probably going to use to sew onto the hand. So I'm going to go 3 times around since this opening is kind of tiny. Cut this off. I am going to now fasten off this piece here. So yarn over, pull through the loop all the way out, then pull onto that excess piece to tighten up that loop into a knot. I can remove this now. So what we're going to do is we're now going to put all these pieces together. We're going to work background. We're going to work backwards. So let's take a little bit of this stuffing we have here, and don't forget to pull out your needle. I'm going to take the little stuffing and put that into the flower to make the bud. You want to make sure you tuck those fibrous ends inside the flower bud so that you don't have any frizziness coming out. Okay, you don't want that fiber or that stuffing to come out. It's going to look messy. So if you want things nice and neat, keep it inside the project. We're going to thread this up. Now what I'm going to do is, how much do we end up here with? That's fine. All right. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to go through the front loops of this so we can close this. So into the front loops of each stitch all the way around. We're sticking our needle in and weaving the tail through there. Once you get to the other side, we're going to pull all of this closed. And then from here, I'm going to sew this onto the stem. So we have 5 stitches we're working with, so try to work your way around your bud using these stitches. That way you know that all sides are being secured together. Okay, so now once you're back around, I'm just going to tie the yellow to the green, double knot, and you can tie this as tight as you need it to be. I'm going to take the needle now. We have to hide this end. So I'm going to go right where this excess piece is near, and we're going to stick our needle through one end. I'm going to actually snake this through the stem. So have your needle come out anywhere down the stem. Okay, pull that all the way out. I'm going to cut this flush to the surface, and then just to hide that piece, you can stretch out your stem a little bit and it's gone. So here is our flower, the leaf, and we're going to sew this to the hand. So let's set this aside for now, and let's pull out let's sew the body and the let's sew the arms and the legs together. So I'm gonna have to guess what's happening since I don't have the photo. I do happen to have an old stitch box, so we're gonna use that. But for the, let's do the legs first. Let's take a little bit of the stuffing to fill into the legs. Again, you're going to want to tuck in those little fibrous ends to make this nice and neat. Okay, like that. Then we're going to get another little piece here to tuck into the other leg. All right. All right. So I'm going to put the feet upright like this. So let's thread up the needle. And I want to make sure that if this is sitting, if we have stitch sitting, we want the feet to be in there like this. Okay. So wherever that is, we're just going to sew in and out. And then once we're all the way back around, I am going to find a place to knot inside. So that's why I like to try to do as much as I can before closing the project off. That way we can easily hide our knots. Okay, and once that's in there, I can leave this inside the cavity, add it to my stuffing, and then now we have the one leg in. Let's do the other. And we're going to want to have the other leg out the same way as if it were sitting. So something like this. So I'm just going to use these nearby stitches to put the legs together. Okay, once we've come back around, get to tie our knot here. Okay, so we've got our legs. I think I got this to sit down way better than I have for Santa or the Halloween stitch that I did. Now we're going to work on the arms. So we have a little bit to stuff with here, so take your little stuffing and do the same thing we did with the legs. Once that's in, let's thread up our needle. And I'm going to want to place this a little outward. Oh, geez. Okay. Tuck this in. All right, so now let's do the other arm. And we're going to sew this the same way we did with the other. Okay. Then we're going to tie our knot. Right. So now we have our body with our, oh goodness, this arm is just a little out more than I would have liked it to be. How did that happen? Alright, we'll see how it is when we stuff it. So let's stuff. This might be a little too much. So I'm going to start stuffing the body. And if the arm is looking a little funky, then I definitely didn't eyeball it. And that's pretty much all it is eyeballing the right placement for the body parts and everything. There's nothing you can do about it. Some kits are really good and they'll tell you what row and how many stitches to put it in. This one does not do that. Okay, I think this is about it that I'm putting in here because he's starting to look a little roly-poly. So I'm going to put the rest of this stuffing into the pouch. I feel like I could have put it in the head. I made that little plush. This is actually a lot firmer than the head, so if you'd like to keep the consistency, then yeah, take it out. Okay, so now you can decide if you want to attach the, I feel like there should have been another row of this. But it seems like there isn't, so you can tie, right, I'll just use the blue actually. So let's tuck in this white in here. For you, that'll be berry blue. So I'm going to thread this up. You want to line up the little blue, soft blue spots with the body here. Yeah, the arm placement is a little jacked, and I'm thinking, let me come back. I'm just going to scoot this one over. All right, I fixed the arm. I moved it a little closer. This one, I don't know. Whatever. It seems like this one is looking different, but that was, I don't know how to fix that one. But anyway, let's line up the pieces together here. Okay, I'm going to go right in the middle of this. And I'm going to sew under the jugular. So for you guys, this is going to line up your colors so that it looks like it's a whole body. But since mine is different colors, it's going to look like Stitch has no neck. So, you know, can't win them all. Alright, so there's going to be a different number of stitches from the body to the head. So don't worry so much about that. Just make sure that once you find that center, that when you sew around, just kind of line up the stitches, and if it happens to skip one, then it's going to skip. And again, try to keep the fiber fill inside the cavity. Okay, once you're back around, I'm going to tie my knot. All right, I'm going to stick this into one end and go randomly out the other, all the way out. We're going to cut this flush to the surface. And then we can squish this to make that disappear. But this is your stitch now. Just make pretend these colors were different. So now I'm going to sew on the ears. Something like this. Maybe this goes right about here. I don't know, it's all just kind of guesswork. And for stability, I am going to sew up a little bit. Okay, then I'm going to go back down. I'm just going to skip the line here. Okay. And once we've reached this side here, I'm gonna figure out a knot. So I'd rather tie it back here so you don't see it. Okay, once you've tied your knot, we're going to hide the thread by going into a place near that excess piece in one end, randomly out the other. Pull that all the way out, cut it flush, and then to hide that piece, just squish the head a little bit. So we have the one ear, and we're going to do the other. So the difficult part now is to make it symmetrical, and then of course I have issues with that, so hopefully you do better than I do. but place your ear right about where this one needs to be. And I'm going to try sewing it the same way that I did the other. Okay, once that's sewn, I'm just gonna skip the line on this side. Okay, then we're going to go back here in the back. I'm going to tie my knot here. Okay, go on one end, randomly out the other. Cut it flush. Squeeze the head. Now we have the ears down. Let's sew the flower to one of the arms here. Okay. So we'll do something like this. And I'm going to tie my knot somewhere. And I'm going to go through the stem again. So flush, and then all that's left is to do stickers. So I happen to have stickers from the other stitch kit, and I'm realizing that these need to be sewn on. The stick is not that great at all. So if you have the patience for it, or you can do a glue gun, I would use that as backup to these stickers. Put the nose first. No, I grabbed the eye, but do the nose first because that's going to be easier to center. And this is what we're working with here. We're going to flip this upside down, center the nose on the face. It looks like the tip of the nose is kind of breaking that line of the soft blue. So you want to push this down a few seconds to make sure that the adhesive is sticking to most of the yarn on here. Then we're going to go and put our eyes in. There's one eye. So they really need to step up the sticker game, because there are plenty of other kits that have better adhesive than this. In fact, though, for all kits, they really should think about, if they're using felt stickers, to put some glue, fabric glue or some sort of fabric stick. I don't know if that exists out there, but just having a regular adhesive is not that great. And see, like, I can't even remove the paper backing off the sticker. Alright, maybe that's not backing. I'm gonna put this on here, squish it down. hold it down. Alright, but that's about it, you guys. So we are done with our flower stitch. Okay, mine has a shirt on. So comment below, let me know how it went. Click that like button if you think that this stitch is cute, or click that like button if you are looking forward to making this stitch yourself. But I hope these videos were helpful into constructing this guy. It's not at all easy, so even attempting it, you should be proud of yourself for stepping outside of that box. But anyway, thank you so much, you guys, for watching. This is Hooked on Needles and Crafts. Please share, like, and subscribe for future videos, and I'll see you again next time. Thanks. Bye.